Hello. Hello. Can everyone hear me? How's everybody doing? Gotta get rocking and rolling here. Alright. How we doing? Music seems like it's probably a little too loud. I'm gonna turn that down just a tad. So obviously we're going to be taking a look at some Akira today. I I had actually done this last week, and OBS decided not to post it to YouTube. And on my end, it looked like it was live, but it was not. I got done and walked into the other room, and my girlfriend was like, "Not like, what are you doing?" I was like, "I just got done streaming." She's like, "Nothing happened. It just showed me her phone. It was just like the preview." It happens, you know, so that's why we had to pivot, and we're doing it now. It's no big deal. The stream anyhow was just an extra stream that I was going to do. I wasn't feeling too well that day, so I had called in at work, and just had extra time basically. Like, hey, might as well just throw the stream on and talk about some comics, why not? Alright. Yeah. Okay, so I had looked at this previously during my end of year review video that I had done. I don't know, it was like around October-ish time frame, I want to say. The book itself comes in this box set. Blow the video back up here. Comes in this box set. It is the 5th anniversary edition. So there are the 6 books, and then also it comes with Akira Club. They are hardcover books, and we will kind of get into the reasoning why I think these are the definitive versions to own of Akira if you don't already have these. So, Akira, there's been a lot of weird things that goes on with it in terms of publishing and whatnot, and differences that they make across the different versions that they've published here, especially in America. So one of the redeeming things about this version, you get both the end text for the Japanese side, and then when you go back, you also get it over here, and you get the English side. The other thing that's the big redeeming factor for this, in past publications, like what Epic had put out, these sound effects were changed, so they're actually English, and as you can see, a lot of it has to do with like how the actual art plays into the lettering itself. So when that stuff goes away, it just looks strange, and they just put just American sound effects there, you know, wording. So that's one of the weird things, and this is the one, like I said, this is like the biggest thing about this book, is you get English text and still the Japanese subtitle sound effects here. Because like I said, that's an important part, because that was actually part of the art. There are certain parts in the book where there'll be text going down images, like where there'll be buildings, be an opening, there'll be text, and they just completely erase that, and it looks weird, like things like this, they would just erase. It looks strange. So, that's one of the big reasonings why that collection is probably, you know, to get it. Not that there's anything wrong with the other versions. I'm just trying to, again, explain why I think this is the, you know, the best version to get. You can, it's not like the most expensive thing in the world. You can get it through eBay and the likes. I had seen it at Barnes & Noble recently. They have it at base retail at Barnes & Noble, but from what I've seen on, you know, of course, eBay, even Amazon, brand new, like $100, $200 cheaper. So, you know, it's out there in the wild, but I would refrain from getting it from Barnes & Noble if you do see it, because you can get it way cheaper from elsewhere. And it's honestly, like, crazy to me that the price of this collection you can get for, like, what people are paying just for, like, you know, when they're getting just the singles, like 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth, at the prices that people are paying for them in comic book shops. Obviously, the manga is going to be way different, especially in the start, compared to the movie. Personally, I think I like the movie more, but, you know, both have, you know, their differences and their redeeming qualities. I like them for different reasons, but in terms of, you know, getting the point across and whatnot, I think I like the movie more. Otomo was in the process of still finishing out the comic story while he was doing the movie, so he had a start and a finish to the movie, and that was done before the comic was even completely finished out story-wise. So he's basically able to kind of like go back and retcon things that maybe he wanted to change from the movie and the comic, and vice versa when he had done the movie, because he had some of the comic already out. So as you can see, the start is way different. And I think the start in the movie is obviously like super cool, but there's a lot more you know, like motorcycle-y things going on definitely here in the manga, which I wish there was more of in the movie, because that stuff's fucking awesome. But that's obviously, it's only at the very start, and that's all you pretty much get, so. But yeah, this whole opening sequence, completely different. I was really admiring, you know, his use of screens and whatnot. It's actually pretty crazy. I'm not entirely sure how fast he was actually having to produce these. These were originally published in Young Magazine in Japan. But like I said, I'm not entirely sure how fast Young was coming out, how often Akira was actually in that. That would be a question for Sean over at Japan Book Hunter, so, because I'm not entirely sure. But he just captures just the dark, just dingy nastiness of, I'm gonna bring my light back over here to make it, just the nastiness. Just back alley, like you're just gonna go down there and some dude's gonna come out of the corner and stab you if you don't give him your wallet, you know. Which I've been in a situation like that before. It's actually kind of funny. I was probably like late high school, probably walking around Columbus with a couple of buddies, and this homeless dude just like stood up out of the dark, basically with he had a blade. We just laughed at him because like me and my buddy both were ready to go into the Marine Corps, so we're, you know, not like super fit or anything, but that dude wasn't gonna do anything to us, you know what I mean? So he just went back and just laid back in his corner. yeah, this effect is just nuts. I'm honestly kind of curious how you go about doing something like that without it being extremely time consuming. There has to be a trick to it. Like in drafting, you know, in like the Marine Corps and stuff, like we would use like eraser shields, and you know, so you'd be able to get lines like that with pencils extremely fast. But I wonder how, you know, like inking wise, if there would be a trick to it like that. It could also just be that Otomo is nutty and he can just do things like that nobody else can, so, you know. Yeah, this opening is just way different. He definitely is a master at drawing women figures without like sexualizing them, you know what I mean? Like they actually look realistic. The proportions aren't super ridiculous. Wow. It's a pretty good looking car. I mean, this perspective, I think the car looks a little short, but I mean, it's still a really good drawing nonetheless. Like this one, this Humvee here too, it's short. Like compared to, I guess, like the angle it should be. I don't know, it's just how it looks to me anyways. But I've also been around a lot of military vehicles and understand their size and scale, and Tomo probably has not, so, you know, it's hard to say. And then down here, you know, they still give you your English translation, which is pretty nice. I was kind of talking about the sound effects there and whatnot. Dude is just nutty. As everybody knows, what's about to happen to good old homeboy here. He's about to have a bad day. But yeah, just like how he has people holding pistols, it's hard to explain. But once we look at Akira Club, you'll see what I mean. It's just the poses just look so natural. I mean, surely he has to be using some sort of model, like reference or something, because it's like he's bending around a corner and his arm is actually like slightly wrapping around and it's popping out the panel. It's just fucking nuts, man. His perspective is crazy. And again with like the action lines. It just never gets old looking at his stuff. It's insane. Like I was saying, this is for sure I think the definitive version to own, because all these sound effects are still intact in Japanese, and it plays into the art. So, makes a big difference. Yeah, just how he draws women, I'm a real big fan of. This is crazy. So, this is something that I point out about Steve Rude's work a lot, is you don't see a lot of comics to where when the gun is in action, the slide, you know, is moving. You don't see a lot of comics to where the slide is actually in motion. it's usually, just either the a slide is completely forward, and it's usually just like a blast at the end of the muzzle. So just cool little details like that that set people apart. And this is something that's also really cool about this version, is even though these effects and whatnot are still in Japanese, they give you the translation subtitles still. So they're not ruining the art, and if you can't read it, they still tell you what it says. So it's a win. Oh, I think the music died for some reason. Give me a second here, folks. I'm gonna get cranking here for you again. It's crazy. He's really good at drawing a lot of things and a lot of detail on the page without it looking extremely busy. And that's something extremely hard to do, and the dude does it in spades. Again, what sets him apart from everybody else. And I know Jeff Darrow had, studied him a lot, which everybody should, and picked up a lot from that. So when you look at, Hard Boiled and the likes, he's a master at just getting just shitloads of stuff on the page, and it doesn't look clustered. Like, you still get the center focus, and then if you just continuously look at the image, you just find bits and pieces. Especially, Jeff Darrow, there's going to be a dog pissing somewhere. So, you got to look out for it. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, just a good shot. He's just so good at posing people with pistols. It's kind of interesting how the Japanese, love gun culture over there. And I think it's just because purely they just don't have access to actual firearms, so they just kind of have this fetishization for it. But it's just crazy just how, realistic it is. Just natural his posing is with them holding their weapons. Yeah, just the use of the screen tones are crazy. Yeah, like I was saying, I'm not entirely sure how often this was getting published in Young Magazine. But if this was something, because like the Japanese over there, they do stuff like weekly sometimes. It's nuts. So if he was doing something like that, like, Lord have mercy on the guy. But they do work in teams in some cases. So, like they would in American comics here, it's just they really don't speak about that over in Japan much. It's more like a cottage industry over there, where they just have, a room full of people just churning out so-and-so's work, just how it is. And, they plaster it on everything, gotcha machines, and, whatever else. Magazines, candy, and they sell the hell out of it. Just, like, again, just master drumming feminine figures. He's the one to look at, in my opinion. Like, even the graffiti in the backgrounds, they give you the subtitles for. Let's go into get a drink here quick. How's everybody doing though? Alright. Yeah, this is just another example of how he's just so good at drawing a lot on the page without it looking super, clustered, over convoluted. It's still a clear image. And what's even nuttier about that is just black and white, and it still stands apart. Just this one dude has the screen tone on him, and that's it. And I think that's what makes it clear, because it kind of draws your eyes to that, and everything else just kind of blends in. But still, it's crazy. I guess I used to branding and things like that. You know, just really try to make it set in reality. And he is a master at drawing architecture. There's no doubt about that. I almost watched Blade Runner last night. I might have to take it upon myself to do that tonight. Because it's one of those things that when you watch it, oh dude, I know it probably took him ages for how long it probably took him to make this stuff. Like, there's a like interview series at the end of Akira, the Blu-ray, where it's with Otomo, and they do interviews with like the sound guys when they went back and like remixed it and, you know, made it digital and all that kind of stuff for the DVD than the Blu-ray. And they really don't like talk about that much. He just kind of more talks about, you know, the impact of Akira more than the actual process of Akira. I'm sure that there's books and documentation and whatnot out there about that kind of stuff. It's just I'm just not educated on it, so that's why I'm just not really speaking on it. So, and that's one thing you'll come to know is I'd like to find myself as to be educated anyways. So if I don't know something, I'm not gonna say that I do and you know, just lie about the information or give you misinformation. It's crazy. Like I was saying, there's a lot more motorcycle stuff going on in the manga than in the movie, which I really appreciate. But still, that opening is just super strong. It's so good. You don't get, you know, like the tail lights and stuff in this. But yeah, like I was saying, I was gonna watch Blade Runner, and I'm probably gonna do that tonight. Because I think Blade Runner is probably like the most beautiful movie ever made. It's so good. And just the special effects in it are just nuts, especially for the time. And that's what really sets that movie apart from a lot. I think a lot of movies like that, practical effects, just smoke CGI any day. Yeah, like I was saying, this version is just so much better than the other ones. You get the hardcover, the effects are still in play, it's a little larger. The single issues are still pretty cool that Epic had put out, but I think at the price that you're paying, you know, per issue, it's just worth it just to get it in this collection. And you're getting a Akira Club out of it too, which I think, in my opinion, just Akira Club alone is worth the price of admission for this. Again, just like the use of branding, does a really good job at setting stuff in reality. Just little subtle things like that, just signage in the background. The buildings in perspective, so good. I'm not too sure what's going on here though. These are like buildings and there's like action lines coming off of them, and it just looks strange to me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna bring it up closer to the camera so you can see what I mean. It just kind of looks weird. I don't know. But I'm rocking the LA Guns t-shirt today. Is anybody a fan of good old LA Guns? It's one of the things that I love about manga. It's just so fast. It just goes. It's real in and out. All the music in Blade Runner. Yeah, I mean, the soundtrack is also very good. It's one of those things that is ahead of its time for sure. It sounds of its time, you know, it's very like it was made in the 80s, but it's still like futuristic, you know what I mean? It's has that analog feel that Blade Runner kind of has, so that future analog feel. This is used to screens again. So when I do my stuff, it's purely just black and white. So I try to pay attention to how people do a lot of screening and stuff, so I can up my game. So like things like this, he drew an image and then threw a screen over top of it, and that's just a gradient behind him. Another one of those images. It's a lot going on. You can just sit and just stare at it. You just find all these little details. But yeah, we're more here analyzing, you know, just the art and taking a look at it and appreciating it more than delving into the story and everything like that. Yeah, that one page is kind of nuts. I think you were talking about this one. Yeah, it's a lot for sure. I think that's kind of the point, because, you know, there's kind of like, where is that kind of coming from? It's just people in here just screaming and shouting at each other. So just being able to draw little just like village sceneries and things like that. Like this 100% had to have been like a reference image somewhere that he had used, because it's just way too accurate. But again, he could just be that good, but I don't know. It's like, this is just nuts. This is like straight out of Jeff Darrow's playbook. Kind of interesting though when you start actually getting like involved in kind of the art side of comics and actually like producing them. You start appreciating different things that you kind of see. like one of my favorites. It's hard to explain, just like I said, it's just how he has people just holding weapons. He's a master at it. And take that from somebody who's been around a lot of weapons. Like, this is so cool. And in those other versions of Akira, this would be gone. It's like, just ruins it. Same with this, it would just be gone, and it would just be American text. Just, I don't get it. This is a really cool shot. Had to have been another reference image of somebody sitting on a motorcycle that he was using. Motorcycles are extremely hard to draw. One of the more infamous things, is it the first issue of Savage Dragon? I think it is, or at least it's the first couple. I think it is the first issue. I could be wrong. But Savage Dragon sitting on a motorcycle, and Eric Larson did not draw that. He actually paid somebody to draw it out of a magazine. He sent it to him. Eric Larson then traced over top of that and put Savage Dragon just kind of like weirdly standing on top of that drawing. It's pretty good. Hey, you do what you gotta do to get the page done, man. And that's something that those image dudes learned when they were, you know, at Marvel and the Whites. You're on a fucking schedule, you gotta get your pages done. Do what you gotta do and get it out. Hell yeah, you know what I mean? This is why we're here. So good. Just how he just draws just dinginess. Oh Lord have mercy, I've never noticed this before. Why? Really cool image. The first time I had attempted to stream this and the thing just decided to break and not post. It was just like the dimension on that building with the pin on it. It's crazy. So, how many issues there were of Akira itself, I'm not entirely sure. I could tell you. Let's bring this up real quick. This is how much there is of it. So we got number 2. We got number 3. We got number 4. Number 5. And then 6. So, all of that comes in this box set. This is the 35th anniversary box set. And when you open it up, it displays your books inside. So you can set it on your shelf like this if you want. And then it has design by Otomo on the inside, like its buildings and stuff. So when your books are actually sitting inside there, it looks really cool. I just don't have the space, so I keep mine closed and I display it like this on the shelf. So it still looks really cool no matter how you display it, because it has art on all sides of the box. And the other thing that it comes with is Akira Club, and I think this book here alone is the reason to buy that pack, basically, and we are going to flip through this once we're done taking a look at number 1 here. But yeah, in terms of the actual singular issues that came out in like Japan through Young Magazine and stuff, I'm not entirely sure. And then the number of run that Epic had done, I'm not entirely sure either. Probably in like the 40s or 50s, I would imagine, just in terms of like the amount of pages and stuff that there would be, I would think. Maybe a little less than that. I'm not entirely sure. When it comes to manga stuff, I really don't collect single issue type of things. I'm more of I buy big bulk collections. So I'm more educated that way. Yeah, just how he draws like industrial escapes and things like that. My favorite dude that draws industrial stuff, and this is just my favorite manga artist in general, good old Saito-san. So I'm big on Golgo 13. I've always been hyping this up. This is probably my favorite manga, just period. If you don't know Golgo 13, you're wrong. Go look it up. I'll just show real quick. Just look at this. This dude is my all-time favorite. We had flipped through one of his books, and I think in my last stream that I had done. So you should be familiar with them, but I wanted to show something in particular. Let's see here. A lot of boobies and stuff in here. But he had done James Bond manga in Japan in the 60s. So he's very well versed in doing like spy espionage stuff, and that's what exactly Golgo 13 is. He's basically just a hitman, just going out and doing his job, murdering people. And basically Duke, however you want to say his name, he does, I had this bookmarked. Basically he does two things. He kills and he fucks the ladies. That's basically it. But yeah. This is just nuts. Another master at just having people hold weapons. His industrial design is nuts. Wow. That's a screen that he's using to get all this shading, but man, that's crazy though. like getting more of an understanding how things are being done. So I guess to give you perspective, if you don't really understand like what I'm saying when I'm saying like screens, so like these gradients that are going up and down, those are basically stickers that you're sticking on onto the page to give it that shading. So I can show you what I mean. It's like this is a screen, and you would put this on your page. And you can see through it. So then you basically take a scalpel and you edge out the image that you want. As you can see, it's been used to the shape that you want. And then you just take that and you just stick it to your page, and that's how you get that shading. And they just make different screens, so they make different gradients, different densities, so on and so forth, backgrounds. They make literally everything, so they get used a lot in manga because it saves a lot of time and it looks cool. Like in America, a lot of it would just be like zipatone and things like that, which was like a chemical reaction, and that stuff would give you cancer, so they don't make it anymore. From my understanding on how it would work, you would have it would have horizontal lines and vertical lines, and depending on what chemical you poured on it, it would expose the vertical line or expose the horizontal line. And when obviously you pour both of it on there, it exposed both, so it would make it more dense. And like I said, apparently that stuff is just cancer on a bottle, so they just don't make it anymore. There are people that still do have it, and if they are using it, they're using ventilation systems. But it's pretty rare. Yeah, like this right here is just a screen. Just cut it out, stuck it on. So we got all that gray. It's a beautiful shot. Oh, there's cross-hatching going on in the background. Poses he has with people holding pistols. He is the master. This cross-hatching here is kind of crazy. It's the amount of lines. Lord have mercy. Homeboy's got his T-square just ready to go, just going zip, 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 zip. This is a beautiful drawing. Perspective is... It's on another level, man. It's Otomo, what can you say? crazy good. Man. Yeah, he's using a screen like up to here, and the rest of this is just definitely just using ink. Like his architecture is just crazy. He is just living on another planet. There's a reason why, you know, he's as popular as he is. Got every right to be. Just a master at drawing a lot of things on a page without it being clustered, convoluted, clear still. Alright. I think we're going to swap over to Akira Club here. I really don't think there is much else. I mean, come on. Look at this. Insane. These both those shots. I don't know. I go back and forth on what motorcycle I like more. If I like, you know, Kaneda's motorcycle or Kamen Rider's motorcycle. Probably Kamen Rider's. I mean, the rockets on the back is what makes it for me. Super cool motorcycle design. I'll probably brighten this up a little bit too. Yeah, it's crazy. He's probably like doing lines, just going out of his mind. Gotta get these lines on this page, man. There's no other explanation. I mean, he's literally just taking his T-square and just going across and going. Just clean and crisp. There is video of him at his drawing table, but I'm not entirely sure the tools he was using. I don't recall. Beautiful. All right. Swap over to Akira Club here. Like I was saying, I think this book alone is worth owning. His entire collection. Has insights from the movie and the book. All sorts of other goodies in there. I literally keep this by my drawing table at all times. So. Insane. Might have to move the light a tad here. trying not to have a glare here for you guys. Yeah, so we get all these different variations of how it would have looked in different versions. I like that font treatment. So you can see it has the Young Magazine spine there. Those were for the first paperback. Crazy drawings. Super infamous shot of him up on the throne there. It's crazy just seeing all this stuff here. Dude just lived on another planet. My favorites. So this is the cover of the laser disc. So I'm assuming this is probably like front back. No. So it was a single image. Nice. He just had noted that down there in that paragraph. He made sure that it was a single image, and he made sure it was to size to the laser disc specifically. Such a cool drawing. Yeah, it just has little tidbits down here to kind of go explains where they come from. So they're just from different covers that had come out through Casey Comics. Beautiful shot. Really good at drawing figures. Like I said, drawing motorcycles in general are extremely hard, let alone getting somebody sitting like that on it and making it look natural. And he just does it better than anybody else, really. Crazy. One of my favorite images there. This motorcycle, I've looked at it a couple of times, and there's just something off about the front of it. It's just like cocked forward a little too much. It just looks off compared to like where the handlebars are at, I guess. shots like that. Yep. He is nutty. So this is one of the reasons why I really love this book. Easy for reference. So just supernatural, having people holding pistols and you get proportion lines and everything like that. Makes it super clear, readable, and they can get a lot of practice just by studying his just natural figure drawing like that. Kind of looked at that earlier, same exact drawing. Beautiful. Yeah, you get all sorts of goodies in here. I mean, you're really in it just to look at his art. Like I said, that box collection is well than worth the money. I would refrain from getting it from places like Barnes & Noble, Amazon, eBay, and the likes. You can get it, $100+, $200 off. So that's the way to go. Something straight out of Jeff Darrow's playbook. Ripped right out of Hard Boiled. But I think it's a flip-flop, you know what I mean? I'm not saying they're ripping anybody off, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, the use of zips or screens are crazy. One of the more infamous shots there. So good. And next week I'm gonna have a pretty big haul, actually. Been stacking up books for a while. Show those off. Yeah, so you get all the different kinds of merchandise and things like that they would have made. All these other goodies in here. Test pages and storyboards, pencils, all that kind of stuff. Love this shot. So, questionnaire from Otomo. Yeah, probably gonna end up just wrapping it up here. But I'm hard at work, doing things here in the background. Really hasn't been, I don't know, many normal videos and things like that, so like I said, I've just been busy. I've been trying to do more and more of these streams, so that way at least something's going up for you guys. I guess on Wednesday, gonna be news on what I've been working on exactly, so y'all can look forward to that. So that's gonna be pretty sick, actually. Yeah, I think that's probably where we're just gonna end up wrapping it up. I got things I gotta get working on here. Like I said, I'm busy working on things in the background, so I gotta get back to hitting the old pages, and yeah, I guess there's more to come. So keep an eye out